You're moving to Boston and you don't know what to do, but you want to know about transportation. In this video, we're going to talk about everything about transportation and get you guys going where you need to go. And guys, we're back. Today we are talking about the Boston transportation system, surrounding and all that stuff. So I want to bring up 4 points today, and I took notes, so I am on point with this stuff right here, guys. I want to talk about the train system, just the public transportation system, so trains, commuter rail, ferries, the buses. I also want to talk about the second point, which is if you have a car and you're driving into the city or you are driving within the city, you want to have a car. The third point is the options that are not car and free public transportation, some ideas, okay guys? And the fourth is actually my personal recommendations for living in the city. So guys, let's start this off right at the bat. The train system. Guys, the trains in Boston are actually really good. I personally like them. They're not as good as New York City. I would love for us to have a public transportation like New York City, but let's be honest here, Boston is a much older city. Everything's been in an aspect done as the city gets more developed. As the city has gotten developed, we've implemented things versus New York has had a different system to implement things. So our Boston public transportation system, if you look at the map, it's a little bit crazy, a little bit scattered, but it works very well. There are some breakdowns sometimes, I will warn you, but as long as there is, you guys are taking care of the app, like you guys have an app for this, or you guys use Google Maps, so you see alternatives, this would work very well. But if you're looking at the pricing for the Boston train systems, a one-way ticket is $2.40. Okay, that's a one-way ticket. I personally would take advantage and buy a 7-day pass if you're here for the weekend, or if you just don't want to pay for, one ride, just one way in there. $22.50 is the 7-day pass. Now, if you are a daily commuter, you need to go around the system or around Boston and surrounding areas, because this goes up to Malden, this goes down to Quincy, Braintree. It gets everywhere, the Boston train system, just the public transportation. You're looking at $90. Okay, guys, you're looking at $90 for that 30-day period. You can travel as much as you want. Now we'll get into the commuter rail. The commuter rail is good because if you are in the outskirts of the city, let's say for example you're living in Lynn, or you're living in, let's see another town, you're living in Needham, areas like these that are a little bit farther out and you need to get into the city, the commuter rail is a great option. It's actually the most reliable, speediest version for a transportation system. It's very fast, on point, so if you miss the schedule, it is on the dot, so it will get to the next hour. So if you go on the website for the Boston Commuter Rail, it will tell you the exact times for each station. Do not miss a train, because I promise you it will go. Now, the rates are $2.40 to $13.25 one way. Now, the reason why it's different rates is because how far you are from the city. It depends on how much money you'll pay. If you're farther from the city, much farther, you're gonna pay on the higher price point. If you're very close to the city, you're gonna pay on the lower price point. Now, the awesome thing is there's a weekend pass. It's $10. It starts from Saturday morning up through Sunday. It's very fun, so you can get in and out of the city super easy. You can go out, go have a good time in the city, still go back. The commuter rail is also awesome because you get to go to areas you wouldn't have gone to either, regardless, if you don't have a car. Okay, the commuter rail is really good for that. Now, there is a monthly pass. It ranges from $90 to $426. Again, guys, depends on how far you are from the city, but that is a monthly pass. And there is a 1 through 7 day pass. There's different levels, but it ranges from $11 to $22.50. Now, again, this 1 through 7 day pass, on the level that you are, how far you are, and how many days you use it, it obviously depends on that. But if you pre-order and pre-purchase these tickets, it helps you guys a lot in the long run. So trust me here, if you are a commuter daily, monthly pass may make the most sense, but if you essentially do a 1 through 7 day pass, you can possibly save some money there. Now, Boston is actually really unique because we actually have a ferry system. So we can do East Boston Ferry. We can do a ferry from Hingham. We can do a ferry from pretty much all the ports around Boston and surrounding areas of Boston. Like I just said, Hingham. I think there's one in Lynn as well. So it gets around. One-way passes go from $2.40 all the way up to $9.75 and $90 to $329 monthly. Now, a cool thing here is, and I'm not putting in the pricing here, but a fun fact, in the summer times, the ferries are super cool because you get to go to the Cape from Boston. It takes you about 60 to 75 to 90 minutes, depending on where you go in the Cape. But it is a great time. You go straight shot down to the Cape. You can go to Provincetown. You can go to Newport in Rhode Island. These are really cool places you guys can go to from Boston. So you don't even need a car. You just pay for the ferry, get on, and then you go to these beautiful places in the summertime, which Bostonians love to do because, guys, our beaches in Boston, not the best, but when you go to the Cape, absolutely beautiful, picturesque beaches. So, excuse me, that is a cool fun fact. And now the last public transportation form that I want to talk about is the bus systems. Now, this is the cheapest mode if you're going to use public transportation to get around the city. Now, I personally am not a fan of the buses. They are reliable. They do not break down. But I just don't like to be crammed in a bus and making all those stops here and there. It's just not my type. But it is a good mode of transportation. It is $1.70, one way. It is $55 a month and $22.50 for a whole week, a 7-day pass. So that is a really cool thing for you guys to take advantage of if you guys want to use that. Although the bus system is very much cheaper, it is a little bit slower as well. There's more stops, there's more places, but then again, the bus system goes not just within Boston, but in the outskirts of Boston. So that is something to take advantage of. I'm sorry guys, I'm a little dry throat. Now we're going to the second point, which is driving. Guys, driving into the city, driving within the city, you have to have a certain type of charisma and persona. We are called the massholes here, and there is a very good reason for it. We are reckless drivers in the aspect of like, we're gonna get in your lane, even if we don't think that we can get in your lane, we're gonna get in there. And I'm not saying I drive this way, but I'm just saying prepare yourself for driving in Boston because it is a ruthless kind of thing. But there are these awesome things that actually come with it because you can get around Boston easier. Easier. It depends because we were talking about parking and all that stuff, but you can get around and outside of Boston easiest. This is very much a comfort kind of thing. And if you have your private parking or private parking garage, even better. You can just park your car there every single day. But since we're on the topic of garages, the range, if you do not have a private spot for your unit, so say you rent there or you bought and it comes with a parking spot, if you're going to have to use public garages, the range is between $255, which is an average, up to like $400 to $500 a month. And the $500 a month are the upscale garages. To be honest with you, you're gonna park where you want to park. If you guys can park in it, if you guys can find a good rate for a garage and it's a safe area, do it. It's just parking your car, and if it's easy for you to get there, walk every morning to get to your car, that's great. Now, let's say you live in the outskirts of Boston, you want to drive in, but you don't want to pay a monthly thing because you're only there a couple days a week, if that. There's meters. So for every 2 hours, the range is around $8 to $16 for 2 hours. Now, a little hack I can give you guys is I go for the meters sometimes if I'm there for a short period. Let's say I'm going to show a condo or I'm going to, visit a condo in the city to, give them an evaluation for their property. I'm not going to be there for 4 or 5 hours. I'm going to be there for maybe an hour. So it works for me. Or if you're going to go into the city, get some food for a day, 2 hours, that works. But here's a hack. I'm going to give you guys the inside scoop for Boston parking and making it super easy and affordable. Download the app Spot Hero. Now, I'm not getting paid by this app by any means. Spot Hero is a really cool app because you can essentially look for people who are renting out their parking spots, and you can say, I'm gonna get here at this time and I'm gonna leave at this time. They'll give you their rate. Let's say it's $10 for the whole time. You pay for it, you go into that private garage scan your code, you get right in. If you leave before that time or at that time, you'll get right out. Super easy, private parking. It's actually a no-brainer. So I use Spot Hero a lot if I'm gonna be in the city for much longer than 2 hours and I need a meter. But that's just my personal recommendation. If you guys have any other options or ideas, I would love to hear them. But those are the most common ways to use parking in Boston. The garages, the meters, and Spot Hero, which I freaking love. Now we're gonna jump to the third one. These are alternative transportation options. Now, obviously Boston is a very walkable city. And if you time bracket correctly, you could walk everywhere. That is free. You just need your little old legs. You know, it's not gonna kill you. You can walk around everywhere and it'll be fine unless it's the dead of winter where it's freezing outside. You can walk, and that's okay. I love walking. It's been great. But if you're like me, and you're like, I want to walk, but I also want to enjoy a little bit. I want to get there a little bit faster. There's these things called the e-bikes. Excuse me, not the e-bikes, the blue bikes. Blue bikes. Correction there. The blue bikes, you can rent them for $29 a month. So these are these bike stations set up around the city. And you can rent it for $29 a month, and essentially you can get any e-bike, or excuse me, blue bike. You can get any blue bike and ride around the city to each destination and just drop it off at another station. So if you download the app, you'll be able to go to these stations free and just pick them up. And you get up to 45 minutes on each ride, unlimited times. So you can grab another e-bike later, blue bike. I keep saying e-bike. Another blue bike later, another blue bike later. Or you can do $10.75 a month on an annual subscription, which if you're living in the city, this is a no-brainer if you don't want to own your own bike. Now, for a single ride, it is $2.95 for the first 30 minutes and then $4 for each 30 minutes after that. So if you see yourself using this service a lot, it's good to sign up for the yearly one. That way you can use it all the time. All right. And number four, which is this is good. This is my personal recommendation. So I'm going to give you a recommendation if you live in the city or if you live outside the city. First, living in the city. Guys, I would recommend purchasing a bike, an e-bike, because e-bikes are super easy. They don't have to do too much effort on your workout, things like that. You can easily go through the city and press the button or pedal a little bit if you want to feel some excitement and some exercise. E-bikes are a good way to get around. Purchase your own, and 8 months out of the year, I can easily tell you can use your e-bike for 4 months out of the year, which is the brutal winter months. You know, it can get really cold, it's snowy, it's all this fun stuff. I would say use the public transportation system for 4 months, but to be honest with you, only 2 to 3 months you're going to be able to be using that max. I say 4 months as like to give you a general idea. Now, you can do an e-bike or, and I do mean e-bike this time, you can do an e-bike or you can do a traditional bike, a city bike. It works just as well. You can chain them up anywhere, and any office or most offices around the city and work areas have their bike stations. So you can chain them up, do anything you need to do. Just make sure you chain them up right, because there have been occasions where people have found just their wheel and not the bike itself. I know it's so crazy finding just a wheel where you left a bike, but sometimes that does happen. So I would suggest locking it up very well. It's not a very common occurrence, but you don't want to be the 1% that was uncommon, okay? Now, if you're living outside the city, the things I can recommend you, like let's say you live outside in Somerville, you have to go into Boston every day. The bike still applies. The e-bike is even better, because that way, you get to your office or wherever you're going into the city, leave your bike, chain it up. It wasn't that hard on you on the commute. But then you can always, in the winter months, take the train, take the bus, or even if you're feeling really spicy that day, if you're feeling like, ooh, I'm luxurious, you can feel and take an Uber. Ubers are great. And you can get an Uber Pass. Although I didn't take notes on what the Uber Pass is, I have a lot of friends who do have Uber Pass. They say it's a lifesaver. And American Express actually has a super awesome card where I think it's either $250 a month version or $500 a month version. There are incentives in it that pay for itself, but they have $10 Uber credit every single month, and you could get the Uber pass. It's kind of a no-brainer in that aspect. So if you like Uber a lot, that is an option for you. But that's it for my video, guys. I mean, let me know if there's anything else I missed out or things you want to know further. But that's Boston public transportation in a nutshell. And my personal recommendations is getting a bike, getting an e-bike. It's a little bit of an investment, but you're gonna realize you're gonna enjoy way more of the city. You're gonna get around really fast. You're gonna be a little zippy, and when it gets really cold out, you just take the train, and that's awesome. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great day. If you guys have any need for real estate here in the state of Massachusetts, Boston Metropolitan, definitely give me a call, give me a buzz. I'm more than happy to help you out and consult you in this whole aspect, because I know Boston might be overwhelming. It's a cute little city that is actually growing so much. There's a lot here in the city to do and explore. I hope that I'm gonna make videos for you guys that are gonna teach you all about my beautiful city of Boston, and that you guys are gonna be able to get the most out of the city with my videos and my expertise. So, talk to you soon, guys. I'll talk to you later.